Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Snuffed. We are here today to wrap up season 2 of Prestige Survivor of the Shadowlands, and we have quite the treat for you guys today. So I am joined per usual by my trusty co-host, Jason. Hey, Jason.
Hello, not sure how trusty I am, but I'm here.
How are you feeling today after your
So
evening?
good. I've never felt better. I'm so happy to be alive.
Girl, I love how you went out this weekend, but I didn't. That's kind of hurtful. I
No,
should be ringing in 27 in style, not at home. But anyway, next weekend I'll be blacking out, so I'll make up for it. That's fine. Um,
can't
addition,
wait to hear what I say later.
you're gonna be like, wait, what did I say? Are you still drunk now?
Probably.
That's fair. That's fair. I don't blame you. But also, we are joined by 4 Shadowlands alumni who have joined us today to partake in a roundtable discussion about the season, about their unfiltered thoughts, whether it be the gameplay, their own gameplay, or their fellow competitors. So, first and foremost, I want to thank all 4 of you for joining us. But now to get into introductions, the first person we have is the 12th placer of the Shadowlands. I played with him before. He tried it with me in a different org, but he just both times was not successful. However, he's still a good player in his own right. So thank you so much. Welcome, Vince, everybody. Hi, Vince.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Glad to be here.
How are you doing? How's everything been since we wrapped up in June?
Good. I haven't played since. I've been stress free.
You said
Broke
after the
here.
Shadowlands are done. I don't blame you one bit, but we're happy to have you today. So thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Next up, we have our beloved comedian from Chicago. He was ultimately sniped in the Twin Urn Tribal Council, finishing in 9th place, which we have Dell to thank for that as well. But first of all, hi, Jason.
Hi, nice to see everyone again. I don't know if beloved is the right word for me, but thank you.
I think you were beloved. You were a popular figure among T-Specs, so I would say so. People were rooting for you. People were rooting for all 4 of you, whether or not it was at the same time or at various different points. All 4 of you were being rooted for at some point.
It was fun to go back and read, like, Dell and Jason should work together. And it's like, yeah, probably.
Looking back at it now, you're like, they
Yeah,
were probably
like, that would have been ideal.
right. Well, we're happy to have you, so thank you for joining us today as well.
Thank you.
Next up, we have 7th place finisher who actually went home in the tiebreaker at Final 7. Hi, Topher.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Have you been playing more orgs aside from your aim days?
I have. I'm in one right now, actually. So,
Oh, which
you
one are you
know,
playing?
I'm in like a second chances season for Rewind.
Oh, okay. Very nice. How far
Yeah.
are you?
It literally just started Friday. So,
Oh, love.
yes.
Well, hope it goes well. Good luck. We're
Thank
rooting for
you.
you. Of course. And our 4th and final guest today is actually the sole survivor of the Shadowlands, my friend from Loreviver. Hi, Dell.
Hi, Nick. How are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm good. I
Have you-
have been aggressively off Discord since the season concluded, which was a good choice, I think. But now I'm back following the new season of Prestige.
we're so happy to have you. Are you still in your org retirement era?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't planning on broadcasting this, but I had agreed to like play an org like right after Shadowlands finished, in which I crashed and burned. So
Sorry to open old wounds.
yeah, it was kind of good though because after winning, I was like really not like mentally ready to like play that game. So when I got kind of meta targeted, I was like, you know what? Fair enough. We're
Oh
just
God,
gonna
someone
bow out. It was like my 4th time playing in that server. I only played, it was a blood versus water, and I wanted to play with my friend who had never played before, and then she got booted immediately. So I was like, all right, fair play, we're out.
We're out. Wait, so you were metagamed out?
Well, I mean, why would I take any criticism for my own gameplay? I'm a winner now, baby.
Yeah, no,
I was just
exactly.
metagamed out of a game too.
Mhm.
Why is everyone getting metagamed? Oh my God.
It's fun. They're like, ooh, we know who you are. They're like, okay.
It's like we vaguely know that you're a bitch, so we're gonna target you.
I mean, that's okay.
That's happened to me before, but I'm
Yeah,
also kind of Jason
Okay.
A can attest to this, so I'm a bit of a bitch in org sometimes. So I've been known to have a feud or two in an org. Vince can also attest that because Vince has also seen me play. So either way. And Dell. Dell has two. So really, 3 of the 5 of you have seen me play before. So either way. So yeah, no metagaming. If anyone is listening to this podcast right now, later on when they're actually listening to it, and it's about Prestige, if you have not played Prestige, if you come in with some metagame and bullshit, it's on site. It's on site. I have no time for that nonsense. It's irritating. Anyway, moving on. So we're here today to talk about the Shadowlands and wrap it up finally, despite us being literally the 2-month anniversary of the finale was yesterday. So we are better late than never, ultimately. But
We needed
left-
a break, okay? Like, cut us some slack. We needed to take some time off.
yeah, if there's anything that Jason and I will do after a season ends, it's disappear for a period of time. So we will go off the grid, go touch grass outside, that kind of thing. So now we're back. We left off talking about Shadowlands at the Twin Urn round. So not to rub salt in the wound, Jason, but we're here to talk about it and everything else from then on out. I know.
I think the last words I said was if Jason from the Shadowlands gets through that tribal council, they're in a good position to win, and then Dell finishes it.
Yeah.
I will argue that is when Dell won the game. I think that move that Dell made there is put every piece in place for Dell to just clear the board at that point.
Absolutely, and I think that's where we should start.
Yeah.
Dell, walk us through the Twin Urns and how you masterfully played that, because so many people take a back seat in that kind of situation.
Yes.
Yeah, so my perspective on the Twin Urns is the twist is so hard to survive.
Yeah.
Or even get exactly what you want to happen. And because there's so much uncertainty in how that is going to go, I think my actual takeaway from this experience, and I don't know if I would claim that I had this perception going in because I think that would be overconfident, but my takeaway now is that acting like you have a plan is so effective because everyone's scared and wants to follow along. So I think that's what ultimately made this work out well. But for context as to what made this successful is I think everyone is aware that I was working closely with Spencer and Fraser at this point in time. And we had Fraser and Spencer kind of sitting in both sides of the tribe, and I was just kind of generally in the middle. Spencer was close to Topher and Jason and Fifi, with Fraser being close to Lab and Tristan. And Nick, did you want to say something?
I fully forgot what it was. If I was going to say something, I'm going to lie.
Okay.
No, it was wild. Continue. It was wild, though.
And so with that, like our whole plan with that group was to gather all the information and then make the most educated decision that we possibly could in terms of how to maneuver. And I think going into that, because we wanted to keep playing both sides, my ideal scenario was that we would take someone off of both sides, so that they both had their relationships and we could continue this like structure of like playing both sides against each other, where they don't know that we all know like what's happening in both camps. And the issue though was that it became apparent that Lab and Tristan, their ideal target from one side was Spencer, and then the other side, their ideal target was Fraser, which obviously would not have been my ideal scenario in any scenario. So the things that had to happen was to both move the targets off of Spencer and Fraser and then also onto someone different, and also know exactly where everyone's voting and keep it going. I don't know if it's actually been kind of a long time, so I don't know if I remember exactly all the circumstances, but I would say the general premise was understanding where people wanted to vote. So Lav had come to me saying that he wanted to have me pitch to, I don't know what we're calling this. In my confessional, I called the Spencer, Topher, Jason, Fifi group the HOA board because It was funny to me, but also made sense. So like and then I think the other side called themselves the naysayers. So the HOA board, Lab wanted me to go to the HOA board and say, hey guys, like they want to split the votes so that it's like tying, and then on the ties, 3 votes, like things happen. And he wanted to know exactly how they were voting a specific way. And by working out the vote counts, I realized that if we had people vote a specific way, we could, if we moved Fraser and Spencer's votes because they were kind of like critical to where things were going, then we could flip the votes in a different direction and move it onto someone else. Because like say you have, I wish I had the exact like breakdown in front of me. I could have prepared more, but whatever. But like if you knew that it was going to be like a 3, 2, and 1, if you move the 3 from one under to the other to make it a 3 on the other side, that is the majority. Like you're changing the results in both urns. And with this in mind, I said, okay, Lab, sure, we're going to take this plan. I'm going to repackage it up to the HOA board and say, hey, guys, if we vote this certain set of circumstances, then Lab and Tristan and Gersh all get screwed over and we're all staying safe. But I was doing a mix of both plans where I was taking some of how I wanted the HOA board to vote and some of how I wanted the naysayers to vote, which would then keep both Spencer and Fraser safe. I will say at this point in time, the fact that the targets ended up being Gersh and Jason wasn't really my ideal scenario. But in terms of like having people continue to vote the way that I needed them to vote, I didn't think it would be worth going, here's this plan. Also, I want you guys to change the targets and also do this, because I felt like that was too many balls in the air that would make everything collapse. So the fact that Gersh and Jason were kind of like the secondary targets for Jason, like both sides, I just felt like I had to accept. But like for my end specifically, I would rather have gone for Topher, and I would rather have gone for, well, Tristan, but Tristan was immune, so Lav and Gersh kind of were both people I trusted, so it was kind of just like a necessary evil. But if Tristan hadn't been immune, I absolutely would have wanted him out over anyone else.
Ooh.
Yeah, from the T-Specs perspective, like the best thing that you did as a player and got kind of the T-Specs on your side was like you literally played, like map that entire scenario out to us. Like you were like, oh, the targets are Spencer and Fraser. We all know that's no bueno. And then you went into action. And like you kind of like, I remember reading that you didn't want Gersh and Jason to be the targets, but yeah, you would overplay your hand too early in the game, and that's totally what won it for you, I think. And you just like masterfully manipulated everybody to do what you needed to do. So it was really cool to see from our perspective.
I do think it destroyed Spencer's game, though. Like Spencer's the worst liar on the planet, and like it was so obvious that it was Spencer that betrayed everyone. And then I think those next couple votes, like I was in jury, but as people came in, like I know Fifi and Topher, you can speak to this more than I can, obviously, knew immediately that it was Spencer. And Spencer kept trying to play off as like, I don't know, guys. I'm just this good old boy from Tennessee. You don't understand Survivor. And it was like, dude, you've been lying this entire game and everyone knows it.
Yeah,
not the Southern accent.
Sorry, that's what I got. Every VM with Spencer was like, y'all, I don't know. I've just got kids and I'm from Tennessee.
Jason, and from your point of view in that round, how did it play out? Like, where did you think it was going, and when did you realize it was going to be you?
I too should have prepared more for this, but I think we were just trying to figure out. I mean, Lav had become a pretty big target for us, not because like Lav thinks I don't like him, and I want him to hear this podcast and squash that. I loved Lav, but I think the consensus from everyone was Lav was doing too much.
Yes.
And just like trying to cause chaos in times where there didn't need to be. And so it became sort of a priority for, I think, most people, honestly, to like, can we just remove this element? It wasn't even just him. It was just sort of like, this is kind of exhausting every round to deal with this. And then I think Gersh was our target too, because Gersh was just sort of, and again, no offense to Gersh was kind of a non-factor. So it was like, this feels like, I'm sorry. It just kind of was like,
no, it's just very refreshing. Continue.
Yeah. So like Gersh was kind of a non-factor as far as like, I don't think it would have pissed many people off for Gersh to go home. Like I didn't feel like there were a lot of Gersh stands left in the game other than like, hey, this is a number we can use, but not like, hey, this person is going to win an immunity and help us, or this person's really going to come up with a cool plan. At the time, my trust level was in Fifi, Topher, and Dell. And so Dell really got me here. Like, this is where I like, when I got voted out, I was like, Dell's winning. Like, I'm voting for Dell. And unless she's not there, obviously. But like, Dell was on an airplane, I think, maybe, if that was real.
I was sitting in the lounge of Newark, one of the airports in New York, like typing away on my laptop, like, sweating because I was so nervous that I wouldn't get this done before the plane took off.
And that sort of level of detail adds such believability to like when you want something to go your way. Like Dell was just sort of like, hey, I'm going to tell you something and maybe we can pull this off. And Dell had been doing that with me the whole game. So I had no reason to not trust Dell at this point. Like, I think we sort of knew Dell was in the middle. But I firmly believed falsely that even if Dell was in the middle, I was probably a little higher in the trust rankings than the other people. And then so like, if Dell was going to take a shot, it might not have been at me right away. It would be at like Topher or Fifi first. So,
but I will say it is true. I did trust you more than Topher or Fifi. I just couldn't.
You trusted Spencer and Fraser more.
Okay, yes, but
yeah, which is fair, totally fair. Like I trusted Topher and Fifi more than you, so like those were my Fraser and Spencer. But I did have, I mean, you'll see in my spec lounge or in my confessional too. Like I had a fair amount of trust in Dell and had a fair amount of like, if sub goes wrong, I will immediately switch to Dell and hang with Dell because I think we had a good relationship from that first swap when I ended up with you through the rest of the game. Like you and I never really had any fights, any problems. We were on the same page about things. So for me, when this vote came up and Dell was like, I want to help you, and I'm in an airport lounge about to book a plane, I'm like, oh man, there's no way Dell would go through this like personal trauma of like sitting in an airport trying to make this work if it weren't trying to help us. So I think that really, and Topher can speak to it too, but I think for me and that group, the HOA board is such a good name, is that I think we were just sort of like, well, this feels genuine and we all sort of trust Dell. So this is a big move where we can get rid of a couple, you know, it wasn't even like big targets. It was just like, just get a couple more pieces off the board.
Yeah. No. So, I mean, obviously, ultimately, Jason, Dell blindsided you. But Topher, you especially after that urn, like you obviously survived it. You were very much so no longer trusting of Dell and wanted Dell out. I think that's kind of when you two officially started to like become very like Cold War-ish in terms of targeting each other. But I think that it was completely severed trust at that point in time where Topher wanted Dell out and Dell wanted Topher out. And Dell even voted for Topher at Final 8. So, I mean, Topher, for you especially, like, how did you kind of navigate the rest of the game, knowing that like you had just been like brutally lied, no offense, Dell, but brutally lied to and played in a way, in terms of like you thought it was going one way and then you were completely left out of the loop of somebody who at the time you kind of had trust for.
Well, actually, I'm pretty sure that Dell was at the bottom of my trust rankings every time, except for I think the round right before this.
Right.
So it was definitely like it blindsided me, obviously. But yeah, like I think like what Jason was saying, this was definitely also what really sort of tanked Spencer's game here too, because he was so bad at lying. And really, I think Jason was the only person who I had like solid trust or like bonds with in the game. Everyone else was sort of like, you know, I didn't really care if they went or not. And that was sort of a misconception, particularly about like me and Fifi, was that like ultimately I would have been totally fine with Fifi to go at any point.
Same.
But yeah, so it was a blow. And then, yeah, I just didn't really trust Dell again after that, even though like I think we could have worked together maybe if we actually had that like threat alliance that ended up manifesting, which didn't obviously happen. But yeah, it was just sort of like the end of that road, I think.
Right. I mean, because ultimately at that point, it's kind of especially when Spencer is, like you guys said, not the best liar. God bless him for it.
God bless him.
God bless him for it. But yeah, he's not the best liar, which is, it happens. Not everyone's a good liar, especially because he hasn't played that much in Survivor. So that's understandable. But I mean, ultimately at that point, we saw kind of the tide shift in a way of that round. Topher, Fifi, and I think it was Shep even too, kind of orchestrated the Spencer blindside where Dell was trying to get Topher out. So, I mean, Topher ultimately, how do you think that Spencer vote kind of shifted the game in a way?
Like it would have been great if we could have used it to gain momentum for like the three of us. I think the problem with that was Shep was sort of still playing both sides too behind the scenes.
Right.
And at that point, Fifi and I were both also like considered huge threats. And I think there was like no way that like Lav would have really worked with me. And Tristan and I were still like really good, but we did not vote together, I think, a single time, except for maybe once at the very start of the merge. So I think that was really sort of the beginning of the end of my game too, was taking out Spencer.
So ultimately, you guys, like both Topher and Jason have referenced kind of not trusting Lav, thinking that Lav was doing too much. If that was the case, why was it more so that you guys kind of knew or heard rumblings about the lightning rod idol? Was that your reason as to why you weren't targeting Lav at the time? Or
we were targeting Lav. Like, here's the thing.
Why were there no votes done then?
Yeah, nobody would do
it.
Nobody would do it. Like, we tried, Topher and I tried a million times, Fifi tried. Like, people, the argument that kept happening, and the word I hope I never hear again, which I've heard in 3 other orgs at this point, is like, he's a great shield. He's such a chaos player. Everyone's going to try and target him. So if we keep him around, it keeps the vote off us, which was like the buzzword of this entire fucking season. Sorry if we're not allowed to swear.
No, you are. Swear away.
Okay, great. So again, not Lav specific as much as it was like we knew he had an idol, or we knew he had something, or he had access to an idol. He was also bad at bluffing, in my opinion. But we just couldn't get any momentum to get anyone to sort of like move on him, just because it was like, yeah, but he's not going to win. Like if he's at the end, he's not going to win, which is true. Like I don't know anyone who would have voted him to win. It was sort of like, Fraser at the end was a great. I mean, Dell picked the perfect 2 people to put next to her. It was like Cruella DeVille and her 2 little henchmen that were like, I don't know, dogs. Because Fraser almost never talked to anybody except like I think the people he was aligned with. So Fraser, no one had a beat on. Everyone was just sort of like, what's happening? Spencer, I already went over like his sort of like, I'm a dumb dad from Tennessee routine, which he's not. He's very smart, very strategic. But we just couldn't get Lav. No one would do it. Like no one seemed to want to make the move, which was immediately suspicious to at least Topher, Fifi, and I.
Yeah.
I felt like at times the 3 of us, and then I'll put Dell in here because Dell obviously was thinking this way. We're the only ones who were like, we know we're in Survivor, right? Like this is a game of Survivor where there is strategy involved and things. And I felt like everyone else was just sort of like, what kind of chaos can we cause? Or what kind of like funny thing can we do? We were like, no, we want to win. Like we would like to win and figure out how to win.
Yeah, there's like a lot of focus on just not getting voted out and not so much strategizing.
Yeah, it was more focusing on shields and like not getting voted out and keeping people in to use later. And it's like, later's here, guys. Like later has arrived. And now it's time to get rid of the shield.
Right. Yeah, it was definitely interesting to watch because Jason's the one that like came up with Lightning Rod Idol and like production of the season. And like seeing Lav just hold on to it the whole time because no one was voting him, we were both like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then like nothing ever happened with it. Like because Lav did not get votes until Final 5. So it's like, all right, well, that's useless now. So it was definitely like
Can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah.
What was it like watching like us try and get votes on Lav and no one would do it?
It was very, very confusing in a way because it was like, and like Lav, Lav, if you're listening to this, it's no shade, but like a lot of people in the merge group like didn't vibe with Lav on a game level. So it was even more so like, why are they giving him a free pass? Like, I'm sorry, but I'm not the kind of player personally where I'm going to sit there and say, oh, well, there'll be a shield for me. No, a shield's for the pre-merge and the early part of the merge. When you're in fucking Final 8 territory, though, no.
No, the thing that was wild to me though is, and Lav still will post it in the chats. He's like, "You were my number one for so long." I'm like, my guy, I never felt that. Like, I never felt number one vibes ever.
Yeah, Jason, pull up the trust ranking. Let's see right now what this is.
Yeah, like he did have me as number one for a good majority of the game, which is news to me. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to ask Vince this question too, because Vince, you were on the swap tribe with Lav at one point in time. And what was your experience like with Lav? Like, were you ever at any point feeling positively about your working relationship with Lav or no?
Yeah, Lav was something. I thought I was chaotic, and then Lav made me look like a stale pop. Versus he was like an overcarbonated soda. The weird thing with Lav is like, I get the time zones, and I mean, it was just like most of our DMs was him complaining about the entire rest of the cast, and then going to bed, and then me giving him word for word everything that happened, and him coming on and continuing to complain about the entire cast. And I was like, that's not what I like. What the fuck does this have to do with what I just told you happened while you were asleep? Like, you're talking about stuff that happened where, like, I didn't go to tribal council that whole beginning part of that game because I was on a team filled with like people like Dal and Brooke that were overachievers in the comps. So I was like hosting, writing Cloud9, and he's like going back to like the first 2 rounds and complaining about how that game went. I'm like, dude, I don't care how final 20 went. Like, are you going to work with me in the swap or not? Because I ended up on like, I think that was the round I ended up in like the worst swap position for my game. So I was like, come on, Lav, give me something. And it was like, well, I don't like this person and this person. And none of these people were on the tribe. And I'm like, I don't give a, like, I can't do nothing. I can't vote these people off. I can't take a boat, go to that tribe camp and vote these people off. Like, what do you want me to do?
That makes me feel so much better that it wasn't just to production. It was to everybody then.
No, yeah, it was constant. And it was like, you know, like part of me was like, I'm trying to build this social connection with you, and you're just complaining to me. So I kind of just was like, please, for the love of God, do not send me to tribal with this person. But overall, yeah, it was a rough experience. I mean, when he didn't complain and there was actual social talk, it was a great time. Yeah. But when it's like 75% complaint, 25% social game, it was like they said earlier, the whole thing about strategy. I mean, I know I used the term shield too, more so when I was in the jury because I was bitter and I was like, you assholes could have used me as a shield instead of Lab. At least I wouldn't have complained about every challenge. But like, I felt like with Lab specifically,
only the auction though.
Well, in the auction, I blew up because I was like, why the hell in the name of God do I have this item and I can't do anything with it?
Would you like me to ship you an actual poncho, Vince?
Yeah, that poncho.
Did you not get it?
I will apologize because I was like, I knew my game was coming to an end because I knew I didn't have this like grand. Like the only person I socially connected with 100% in confidence was Shep, and Shep decided to become like non-existent for that round because he was still busy with work. So I was like, great, the one person I trust fully is not talking right now, and I'm basically screwed. So that, and like, oh cool, maybe there's like a different meaning behind this poncho, and you guys were like, no, it's just a poncho. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's just a poncho. What am I supposed to do with this? Can I throw it on someone? Can I do something? So
I thought for sure there'd be something in the poncho's pocket or something that's like, oh, there's an extra vote. Nope. Nothing for that poncho.
Look, we told you there was a storm coming. We were being thoughtful and courteous and giving you a poncho so you stayed dry.
And there were so many advantages out there already that there needed to be duds.
No, like there was genuinely so many advantages. Not to mention on Takore as well. There was so much shit that was not found. Like there was so many things that were not found the whole season. We were like, what the hell? We should have made the board even smaller than we did.
For future. But it was like the most frustrating thing about Lav not getting votes was the idol. I'm like, are you serious? The only other person that would have been worse having that idol was Dell.
Yeah.
Nobody was voting Dell. I was like, why the hell? The one person that should be getting the votes to get this really cool idol going wasn't getting votes. Like, it was so frustrating.
He literally should have led the season in the amounts of votes getting. Like, even when I was still in the game, I was bringing up Lav and immediately getting no.
Yep.
But so by the time I came around to talking to somebody like Topher, Jason, or Fifi, I was already deflated because nobody wanted to vote him.
Oh,
so I was like,
we'd be in production being like, okay.
I wanted to throw Hinky vote on him the one round, but I don't remember if I think he was immune that round.
He was.
So I was like, I can't even throw a Hinky vote on this guy. I just wanted to throw it on him. So then I threw it on Dell. And then immediately after I made that Hinky vote, I was like, this is so going to come back to bite me in the ass. It's going to be obvious it's my Hinky vote.
I mean, you more or less told me you were going to do it. It wasn't even like sneaky. It was just like, yeah, I'm voting.
No, I had to. Like, that literally, I had two options. I was either go to Dell and tell her, look, I'm voting you because nobody else wants to throw votes and everyone believes that Brooke doesn't have anything, which luckily they didn't. Or do I hide this and it's obvious that it's me because I literally went to everyone except for Brooke and Lav about throwing a Hinky vote. So like everyone knew I was trying to throw two votes on someone else. So it was just going to come back around me.
I will say my relationship with Vince was one of my favorite things of this season.
Okay, I do want to...
It went from 11 in the trust ranking to like 1.
Erratic. I want to give like one perspective on Lav because he keeps getting this like characterization as chaotic, which I'm not sure is truly fair. I think he was like very vocal and somewhat complainy, and he would talk like shade about people all the time. And I think he was abrasive in a way where people didn't necessarily like him. But in terms of gameplay, especially from like probably 10 onwards, he wasn't really chaotic at all. I think like the most chaotic things he did was tell John he was catching votes when literally everyone else on our swap tribe like left him out of that decision. And then also in the animal round when he blew up your spot, Jason. Yeah. And then I guess maybe also telling me that like people were thinking about targeting Brooke, but I heard that from a lot of people. But like, what did he actually do that was like that chaotic?
I think like, he created stories that didn't exist. So like, and that we all knew didn't exist. So he was trying to like, as much as he may have trusted people, he was constantly trying to pit people against each other in ways that were sort of like comically ridiculous. So like, I define chaos as just someone who's like trying too hard to make too much happen. Like he wasn't I think Dell, that's a pretty good characterization of Lav. And I do agree, like later game, he ran out of options. So he wasn't able to be as chaotic. He kind of needed to like, well, shit, I have far less wiggle room. So I kind of need to just sit in this pocket now. But in the beginning, yeah, like all the way through from the beginning to even like, yeah, top 10 or whatever, it was just always a new story every day. And at least in my one-on-one with him, it was always like, this person's voting for you, or this person's doing this, or this person has this. And it's like, do they?
Yeah. I mean, I think I wouldn't use chaotic. I would just use messy. Like,
messy's better, yeah.
It was, but he was messy, but in a calculated way. So I think I think that everything that Lav did was with intention for the most part. You know, there was some like fights or whatever, or shade that maybe wasn't like, you know, completely like planned out or whatever. But like ultimately though, like in terms of the game, what Lav was doing, I will give him his flowers. It was intentional, and like he did play well. It was just very much so where it was confusing because there was such a thing of like, there were a lot of people that were sus about him, but once one or two other people were saying, I don't want to target him yet, it was just very much so like a throw your hands up kind of moment. And I'm like, all right, I get it, because you don't want to, you know, you don't want to push too much and show your hand too soon, that kind of thing. But I got to the point where obviously it was too late.
I think his age benefited him and hurt him. Like, I think his age, sometimes people are like, well, you know, we got to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's young, so he's going to be like a little more passionate sometimes than the HOA aged people. So I think he got the benefit of the doubt sometimes in like, it's just youth being youth and that's fine. And like, let's write it off. But I also think that was to his detriment sometimes. Like, I think his like popping off was a little bit of a sign of his age and just like, this is how I'm going to react to it. And some of us were just so like, oh God, I don't want to deal with this. So I think it helped him and hurt him in different ways. But I will also agree. I think he was an outstanding player. Like, I think he knew exactly what he was doing. That's why I say chaos maybe more than messy. He was definitely messy, but I think when messy is calculated, that's chaos to me because he was trying to cause that kind of discourse. And I think he was trying to get people riled up and like get Vince angry, get me angry. Like, I think that was part of his strategy, frankly.
Yeah, I think that he's definitely a good player. He's a type of player that, as he learns when he is playing more orgs, he knows how to get far into a game. He doesn't know how to make that killer instinct to get to the end and make the win, I think. And then, like Jason said, he knew who the vocal people were, so he used the storytelling to cause the vote. Like me and Jason fought like 5 times because of Lab's stories. Like it obviously became apparent that the source was Lab as it went on because obviously Jason only heard it from Lav. I only heard it from Lav. It had to be Lav. But me and Jason's personalities with wanting to be the one that's proving the right point caused all those arguments. So Lav enjoyed the chaos. Once the chaos people were gone, he has no choice. It's kind of like Russell Hansen in Heroes versus Villains. Once all the other psychos went out of the game, he kind of had to calm down because what was he going to do? You can't really piss off these calm player by nature players. You're just going to make a bigger target on your back. And I mean, production probably wanted him to keep going because then finally he'd get some votes and that goddamn idol would have been able to be activated. But Lav decided to go, you know what? I'm so close to getting those votes. I'm going to stop here and I'm going to make production pay for all the complaints I made on them. I think that was his strategy.
Yeah, I do too. I know. I mean, he's not going to get like Dell and Topher and Fifi to get like irate. It just wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
I think part of the reason Lav was a good shield, like why I didn't necessarily want to go for Lav too, was because he was the only vocal person really on that side of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like Shep was AWOL, Tristan was bopping around doing his own thing. Frazier didn't really talk to anyone else aside from like it felt like me and Spencer, and then like he was still good with like Tristan Love, but he like none of them were like super visible players. But Lav was so over the top that it like balanced the sides out where you had like if Lav had gone out, then I feel like Frazier and Gersh and Shep and whatever like could have floated back and the game would have become a lot less clear in my perspective. Because for me at least, having the two sides be so distinctly against each other was like the cleanest and most easy to understand scenario. Like I want as little chaos as possible. And sure, Lab was like causing, a lot of tension, but he was also making the game so clear for me that I didn't want to stop that dynamic.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, Jesus Christ. Ultimately, it was one of those things where, like, especially in Dell's position, like, Lab was very beneficial to Dell's game, I think, at a certain point.
God, yes.
So it was very much so an easy, whereas for Jason, Topher, and Vince, maybe not as much. But for Dell said, I don't see the problem.
I want my... he was perfect. Thanks, Lav. Couldn't have done it without you, buddy.
Lav was a challenge away from getting to the final tribal council. If Lav beats Frazier, does that change any of the votes at final tribal council?
Not for me.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. There's no scenario in which I vote for Lab to win this game.
It's hard because I don't think that in that scenario they would even be able to get anybody out that would benefit Lab to win in that final tribal council. I'm like Dell amazed me throughout the season because I literally had hosted them like not that far off and played a completely different game than I saw there. I was waiting for the Dell that I watched to come out, and I'm like, God damn it, they're not coming out. And I'm like, is this even the same person? And I literally went in one day and checked to make sure that they were the same accounts. As I was like, how is this possible that I watched Dell play a way more vocal game and Dell's playing the most calculated game across the 80 orgs I've ever seen? Like that, the frustration in the jury chat where I was saying was like, I didn't want to vote for Dell was because I was so mad at how well Dell played me and how well she played everyone against each other and used the best shield for her game. There's so many potential shields. She used the best ones. Any other shield could have been a detriment to her game.
So had Lab won Final 3, the Final 3 would have been Dell, Lab, and who?
Tristan.
Yeah, no.
Hopefully, does that change your thoughts on the vote?
No, I probably still would have voted for Tristan.
Yeah. Dell, do you feel like going into it, not knowing how the jury was feeling, like I guess you voted for Lab, but like, would you have been more concerned of facing Lab over Frazier?
No, not necessarily. I think for me, if you read my confessional, it was mostly me crashing out about the potential of like Tristan because he was the most like this situation that I was like least aware of. Like I felt like I had clear counters to Frazier, obviously, and then also to an extent like with Lab as well. And ultimately, like once I knew my place was secured, I was kind of like, I don't know if I really care that much who I'm next to. If anything, I would have wanted to vote out Tristan because I felt like that scenario was the one that I had the least information on, which I do think I was right about.
Yeah.
Granted, I overestimated it a little bit, but like still.
I think Tristan would have, had the Final 3 been Tristan, Lab, Frazier, Tristan wins, I think, unanimously.
I think Spencer and I probably vote for Frazier. I might have voted for Lab, but
yeah,
Tristan wins. I don't know. I mean, I really did think that Frazier's final tribal council was like pretty decent. I don't know. My whole mindset the whole time I was reading all that, I was like, oh my God, I fucked myself. Like watching everyone react to Tristan, reading Frazier like responding so forcefully, and like I felt like he came from like a pretty genuine place, and like the way he phrased it like felt very logical to me, which I appreciate. And then as I was watching this happen, I was like, oh, I didn't calculate this correctly. So
did you get to read the jury chat afterwards?
No,
because that's absolutely not how it was being received. Just so you know.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Frazier's final tribal council, I don't think, I'm not saying it was bad. I don't think it changed the percentile of who was going to end up winning the game.
Yeah.
And it maybe partially had to do with how strong Spencer came into the jury and kind of tried to, like it was almost like he was like the mastermind and all this. And then it kind of rubbed a lot of I remember me and him clashed for like 2 whole days about it, but that kind of hurt Frazier too, because it was more so about them being the silent killers and you were like more of the front force of it. So it helped your game, but it kind of detrimented Frazier. So I think everybody tied Frazier and Spencer together.
Yeah, but imagine if sorry, Jason, go ahead.
I was just gonna say Spencer took credit for pretty much all of your moves. So he kind of put himself at the center of the Spencer, Dell, Frazier trifecta, and like again, no one bought that particular item for sale. We were like, it was Dell. Clearly, it was Dell. And he's like, no, it was me. I did all of it. You should respect me. And we were like, we like you, but like it was clearly Dell. But that I think Vince is right. It was sort of became even more apparent that like Frazier really had little to do with this. And so when Frazier was talking such a big game in Final TC, we were all sort of like, my guy, you didn't do any of this. Like Spencer is actively in the jury saying he didn't do this, he didn't do this, he didn't do this. So that wasn't helping Frazier either.
Yeah, that's tough. I think my perspective was that like if I had lost that final 5 and Frazier had won, and like he had certain things had come differently, like I feel like if I had hit jury at that point in time, I would have come in as an advocate for him, and he also would have been the person who got me out. Like I think there's not like a chance, I don't know how big of a chance it was, but like maybe things go a few different ways. I'm more vocal voice, he makes the move to finally like take me out by like beating me in that immunity challenge, and maybe that is like a more compelling story than what Spencer was spinning.
I think for me though, like social is such a huge component that if Fraser decides he's only going to talk to Spencer and Dell the entire game, then like even if his moves are great and he takes Dell out, the end, it's like I don't know you. Like you made no effort with me. You made no effort to connect with me. And it wasn't a time zone thing because I talked to Lav more than I ever wanted to. But that's the other part. Like I just don't think, even if he was the mastermind behind all of it, none of us knew it. And none of us knew anything about him or talked to him. So like that wasn't going to help him either.
Yeah, fair enough.
I feel like he was expecting to get to like final tribal council and have it be like this big reveal that he was doing stuff the whole time. And by that point, it's just sort of like perception was already way too far off.
Yeah, you can't wait till the very end to show your cards at that point. Like it's just sort of like, oh, okay, but also Dell is here.
Yeah, I mean,
that was the tough part to watch from our perspective. Was that he was in confessional saying all the stuff, and I'm like, but nobody knows you're doing it. Like that's the hardest thing to go into final tribal council, and now you're trying to change everybody's perceptions.
Yeah,
and it was like we wanted to. We were like, obviously we can't push. So, but in my head, I'm like, please just like start laying some crumbs that you're doing these things or doing something or saying things to Dell or trying to influence, and like, unfortunately, it just never changed that for a whole end game. Because he was doing a lot, and Dell gave Fraser a ton of credit too, but just didn't do it till too late. We wanted to touch on the main twists of the game with Decor, and everybody at the beginning of the season voted out, still had a chance to come back in. Did that impact any of your guys' gameplay before the returning challenge? Let's start with Topher.
I don't think so. I think with a twist like that, I think it was a good twist, and it is unfortunate that like the people who ended up getting voted out were kind of flops. But yeah, you can't like, I don't think you can spend too much time worrying about who you're voting off in case they come back in the game. You sort of have to just like get the people out who you want to get out and just hope for the best.
Vince?
Okay. Sorry, I was thinking and I was trying to listen to Topher at the same time. I mean, ideally and originally, I just wanted to send anyone that showed signs of being physical players to Takora. That way, none of them, all of but one of them, come back into the game, and then it's less threats of potentially winning immunity challenges. But being on the tribe that was so strong physically, obviously never had a chance to. So I just wrote it. I was like, whatever. I don't really care who goes there. But once I started seeing who was going there, I was like, man, I don't want to go there. Then when I saw what the actual final challenge was, I'm like, thank God I didn't go there, as I would have cried for like 3 weeks straight that I had to do that final challenge.
Well,
even though it seemed fun,
at the end of it.
It looked fun, but I'm definitely not a challenge beast, as Nick well is aware. He saw some of the worst results ever in the org we played. So.
Essa Rob.
Jason, did that twist impact your decisions?
Yeah, so I think for the most part, I agree with Topher. No, the only one that it did was John, because John did that last minute Hail Mary where he put a group together that was like, let's do this. And like up until that point, I was trying to help John, but then John disappeared for like an entire day and everything swapped around. And it's like, I can't help this guy, but I do want to make sure when he leaves, because he's smart and he's good at challenges, and there's a good chance he's the one that comes back. So I did send him out with a little bit of a like, hey man, I tried all day to get a hold of you and warn you, and which he could see. So like there was a little bit of that with John, because I did suspect, and John almost did get back in. So like for me, there was a little bit of like, I need to at least leave a good taste in John's mouth when he leaves, just in case he does come back. Because John struck me as one of those players that if he came back, it would be Vengeance City. He would just like, I'm going to get everyone. So I wanted to make sure I wasn't in that path. And then on the other side of the coin, when it was Spencer, who came back, I was sort of like, this is a huge opportunity for me because I was never with him. So I didn't wrong him. I didn't vote him out. Or Shep. Sorry, Shep. I didn't vote him out. I was never with him. So that's what allowed me to sort of be like, hey, want to work together? Like, you've got no beef with me, my friend. So those were the only two, I think, to core things that played into my strategy. Mostly I was pissed when I saw nobody tried to get back in. And then we all did the challenge for fun. I was like, I want to see, would I have gotten back in? And I don't remember. I don't think I would have, but yeah, I was more pissed that nobody did it.
Oh, you and me both. You and me. Like the whole thing is that we spent from January 1st until the day the season premiered planning this season. So Jason and I went on many calls, like planning this out, doing all this shit, just for half of them to not even participate. The only one that really had a valid excuse was Isa. That was the only person that had a valid excuse because I think they had like a teacher or a professor that died or something, which is horrible. That part, Isa, that's not your fault. That's, take your time, whatever. But we had, I think, only 3 people that did it. I think it was Brooke, Shep, and John.
Yeah.
Then Brooke crashed out because there was I think a situation where we had to go back and review something, or there was something to be taken into account differently than they thought. And it's like, either way, they would have lost. So, I mean, ultimately, I'm like, you weren't coming back regardless, but okay, either way. And it was a whole thing where, like, it was just a whole thing either way. But John used an advantage that he had and unfortunately did not make it back in. So, yeah. Dell, though, however, was the person that voted out Shep before Shep came back into the game.
Yeah.
So now, were you shitting bricks when Shep came back, or were you kind of just like, whatever, it's fine?
I mean, it was pretty I'm a very cynical person, especially in these games where I assume the worst out of every situation and out of everyone else. So for me, it was like, of course Shep's going to come back in because that would be the worst person possible to come back in for me. So seeing him come back in at that point, I already made my peace with it and was like, well, okay, whatever. You just got to roll with the punches. It was pretty unfortunate too, because when we were in the situation on our tribe and we had to vote out Shep, he had told me about his extra vote. And like, theoretically, we could have tied the vote 3-3. And like, I probably could have saved him if I really tried to. But ultimately, I think when I play these games, I view a lot of things as like a necessary sacrifice. Like, and then Earns, it was a necessary sacrifice to let Gersh and Jason go because I didn't want to like push too hard too early and then like blow up the situation more. So like similar with saving Shep, like why would I blow up this 4-person alliance to save someone who like, yes, has proven that he trusts me, but also hasn't proven himself to be like an impactful player in the game because he was like always gone. And but I did regret kind of immediately after not giving him a heads up about it and just like agreeing to do the blind side. But I felt like if I had told him what was going on and like he can also do the math and realize it could have been 3-3 and whatever, like it just felt too risky to be like, hey buddy, sorry you're going. But at the same time, I also regretted it because obviously the situation played out as it did.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately it worked fine. I mean, Shep was like, I love Shep, so I don't want to come across as an asshole when I say this. But in the merge era, there were certain points where Shep was a bit of a non-factor in terms of just kind of, from our perception, we were both in law school at the same time. We were both going to the bar at the same time. So like I know, and like we work in the same area of law too. So like I know how time consuming and demanding Shep's job is. So I get that he wasn't able to devote the time to works, which valid 100%. But yeah, I really was expecting Shep though to come back, especially after coming back into the game and like doing all that work and fighting us back into the game, to be more proactive. And I think there were times when it was lacking. There were times when it was there, but there were a lot of times where I was like, okay, Shep, let's do something. Give me something. But ultimately, though, like I think the biggest thing about Decor that was disappointing was the fact that like a lot of people just did not do it. So, which I mean, ultimately, had we done it on an all-star season, I think that it would have worked much better. So how obviously it's hindsight, but had it been an all-star season, I think it would have worked a lot better as a twist because there's more incentive for players to actually try and do shit to get back on the game. But oh well, shit happens.
I do think the twist would have been, again, this is a fun game to play in Survivor. I think had John come back, the twist would have been interesting because you would have put someone back into the game that would, well, in theory, if John was at full John mode. If John wasn't in, I'm going to sleep 23 hours out of the day mode, then no. But if John was in full like John mode, I think it would have caused chaos in the game, which is ultimately what I think you guys wanted, or at least a catalyst for something to happen in the game. Whereas Shep kind of came back in and it was like, hey, everyone, we brought a warm cup of tea back into the game. Does everyone need a warm cup of tea? And it was like, yeah, I could use some soothing tea, versus John would have just been like, here to kill everyone, which I think from your guys and T-Spec's perspective would have been more fun to watch.
Yeah, like I think it definitely would have made things more interesting. Not that Chef like is like not interesting. It's just a fact.
No, he's great. He's great.
It was just a fact of like I think there was a lot of passiveness, which I didn't expect from someone that had been wronged by people in the game. But it is what it is ultimately, and you can only play as much time as you have in your life. If you don't have time in your life to play, real life always comes first ultimately, and it works. It's not that deep. But I do actually have a question from Chef. It just says compliment Shep. So I will go around and have each person compliment Shep. Vince, I'll start with you.
I mean, to be honest, Shep was the one I talked to the most before we got separated. So he was really good at talking when he was active in the game. I mean, you guys thought I was sending long voice messages. He was sending me like 15, 20-minute voice messages, like 2-3 times a day. Like I'd have to listen to them on my drive home because it was like the only time I could listen to them. So like, my compliment would be that he did put in the effort when he was available. Obviously life or something got in the way. So I don't know what happened later on, but I guess that's my compliment.
Yeah. No, I remember Fifi at one point saying too, like, what the fuck is this long ass voice note shit when he sent her a voice note one time, but it was hilarious. But Shep is a long-winded fella, and he will do a video confessional or a voice note all day long. But we prefer content rather than no content. So give almost the content you can. So even better. Topher, thoughts on Shep?
I liked Shep. We were like decent allies right before I got voted out, and he's like super smart. And like pre-merge when we were on a tribe together, I think it was that like the rope challenge or whatever.
Yes.
And he like really was amazing at that. So yeah, he's just like such a smart dude.
Period. Jason, thoughts on Shep?
Yeah, I think I'm going to echo most people here. I loved Shep. I thought Shep was, I think if we had full strength Shep, like if he was like able to spend I don't think people need to spend all of their time with it. I just think he didn't have even enough time for the bare minimum. But had we gotten like full strength Shep, I think it would have been a very different game as well. I loved talking to him, like truly like a full ass adult, which was refreshing. I also got 15 to 20 minutes. I mean, I felt Shep was like a podcast more than a player, which I was fine with because like Topher said, super smart, super strategic. And like I said, if we had full strength version, especially when he came back into the game, because I do think like we gobbled him up pretty quickly of like, hey, we didn't screw you over, work with us. And like, we're a decent group of people. And he was working with me. And I think he was working with Topher and Fifi at some point. And
yeah.
Like, I do think had we harnessed that more, and had he been able to give more, I do think he could have been like a really like unstoppable force in the game. But just as a nice thing to say, like he's a super nice guy, super interesting, super smart. And I would love to like play a game or watch a game where he is able to like give 100% because I would be fascinated by how he attacks the game.
Yeah. I've played with him before. Like when he's actually locked in, he's a great player. he's a messy player where he definitely doesn't know how to mask his threat level at all. Like that part, he does not know how to do it at all. But so I've beaten him before in a game, and then he's also won a season your allies in the game. So like he's a good player. Like, he is. It's just this season he just I think was a little too busy to like fully commit, but it happens. Del, thoughts on Shep?
Yeah, I mean, I think Shep's strength is that, from my perspective at least, is he's very good at letting you know where he stands with you in terms of like making you feel good. So like if he's sending you a 20-minute voice note, it's not like he can copy and paste that and send it to a bunch of people. Like the voice memos kind of suck, but at the same time, there's like a level of intentionality behind it that I think helps. And he was also very clear in terms of like, hey, I trust you a lot. Here's information like that I'm just telling you, or things of that nature, where I was like, okay, like Shep is doing all the right things, saying all the right things to like make me feel good with him. It's just hard when everyone else is like, yeah, apparently Shep doesn't play on the weekends. Like, who is this guy? Ha 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 ha. And I'm like, oh, I mean, like I know I'm good with him, but like, what is the bigger picture? But yeah, I enjoyed my moments with Shep when he was around.
Yeah, I like Shep. I'm a Shep fan. We are actually going to move into some viewer questions we've gotten regarding more so the production of the season. So some of which you guys have asked us yourselves. And if you have any more, you can drop them. You can ask them as we go. So Jason A from V, was there any scrap content you wish you would have looked at? Or sorry, was there any scrap content you wish you would have added looking back on the season?
I honestly cannot remember. It was so long ago.
No, literally same.
We thought about so many different things. We mulled over, like how to do Takor. We almost dropped it completely because we wanted it to be done a certain way. I don't know. Like I feel pretty happy. This was my first ever like full production of a season.
Right.
So I'm pretty happy with how everything went. Like I obviously would have loved the lightning rod idol to be actually used and have a vote and have that like the whole point of it was it's a risky thing to almost tell somebody and encourage a vote, and then you could end up just getting voted out completely. And instead we ended up the complete opposite, where just no votes at all were cast on Lav while he held that advantage. So
yeah, I can't.
I think if anything, you know what? I would probably make the board a little smaller so that all of the advantages would have actually been found.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think that's a lot of, there was the one thing that I felt was a little frustrating as the producer of it was it didn't seem like there was a lot of people communicating where they were going. So we just saw a lot of people go to the exact same spots. And it was like, oh, if you just mentioned it, you would have known that that was already picked. So we were just seeing a lot of like wasted guesses.
Yeah, like there was like a shot in the dark. There was an idol on like each tribe's board, an extra vote. So there was like 2 tribal idols that weren't found. There were like I think an extra vote that wasn't found. 2 shot in the darks that weren't found.
I don't know how we didn't find it on purple.
Advantages were found on Taupo, but the other 2, like Hawaii, only had like 1 thing found.
Yeah.
Question: did you, when I put the OHAL Beware advantage back, did that fully remove it from the board, or did you move it to a different location?
No, we moved.
It was relocated to a new spot.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Good question.
That was my question.
So, I mean, ultimately, it was something where, I mean, you declined to do anything with it. So we simply put it back in a different area. I mean, because ultimately, you're not going to know unless you find it again yourself that someone else found it on the board. So, I mean, I think we had a discussion as production of like, do we want to rehide this? And usually with idols, we do if they're found at a certain point. So we ultimately decided to rehide it, but it was never found though anyway. So it wasn't like someone else had picked it up because it was never found.
I just thought it was
a good question though, because I know when I played Winners at War, I wouldn't like. I actually had a Beware advantage, and I accepted it with like 15 seconds left in the episode.
Yeah,
but like I would have assumed it would have gone right back. Like I was like, okay, if I need my vote, because I'm probably gonna have to risk that, and I could lose it. Like I kind of played that, but I would have also not known that it would have been kind of like rehidden somewhere else, and it was a wild goose chase now to try and find it.
Yeah, I guess just thinking about like what happens in actual Survivor, like thinking about what season was that, like the one with Andy and Sam, like it stayed in that same location and then he could go back and like see that it was taken. Like for me, that there's a whole saga with me talking to Gersh being like comparing locations, like thinking Fifi had it because she was searching the F row, so on and so forth. Like I almost think it's a more interesting dynamic for the idea that one, I could have like figured out who had it, and also two, that like I could have theoretically gone back and gotten it myself. So
yeah, I changed that.
Yeah, I think we just had bad luck on our tribe. Like I put a Photoshop image up every day of all the places searched, and nobody found anything. It seemed like
some of those Photoshopped like maps that people were doing. I'm like, literally the one spot that you're looking at. For some reason, everybody would search like the entire row except one spot, and I would have the advantage. I'm like, why not that one?
Yeah. Also, people doing a pinpoint search also instead of a broad search. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Well, yeah, I only did pinpoint because I was like, I don't know how the broad, like, I don't know the percentages well enough on broad to be like, what do I trust here and what do I not? Versus this is 100% accurate information.
Oh my God.
I mean, you're ultimately covering more ground though with the broad search though, so you can like cover more area of the board faster.
Except you don't know, like, sure, that's theoretically true, but if it comes back wrong and there was something there, I'm not searching there again. So it's like, it's wrong.
No, but your expected value is so much higher. It's 166% better expected value. What are you guys doing?
Did you do broad searches now?
Yes, the whole time, of course.
Like, what the hell is everyone doing?
I literally was like, nope, I must have 100% information.
And I'm looking at this sheet right now, and Dell had 4 advantages.
Yeah, I mean, I found so much stuff too.
6. Like, she had at one point held 6 different items.
That's incredible. Well, lesson learned next time.
So now when I'm watching this current season and I'm seeing people go doing pinpoints again, I'm like, have you learned
nothing? They're all doing pinpoint.
Have you learned nothing?
No.
They obviously have learned jack shit, so that's why they're doing it again. But it is what it is. Okay. Gersh from the Shadowlands wants to know, prior to this season, which twist were you most excited to see play out? And in hindsight, which twist do you think delivered the most and why? Jason A, thoughts on that?
Kind of go back to like the lightning rod idol, I think was the one that had the most like missed opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to think, like, there really wasn't an advantage, I think, this season that really made a major impact. And I guess I'll throw this to the group. Like, Del, did you feel any of the advantages impact your game or end the game at all this season?
I was very confused that like all the idols weren't found. Like, I hadn't really run into a game before where the idols that we knew existed weren't found. And so I spent a lot of time fixating on something that wasn't actually happening in the game. I will also say, I do want to slightly touch on this because I think there are some questions about NTSPIC, and I haven't addressed this, about why I used the idol at Final 7 instead of the Chaos Coin. And the reason for that was that I knew people thought I had the idol, but no one knew I had the Chaos Coin. And I felt that if I played the Chaos Coin and it hit, that people would still expect I had the idol. And then that was just a whole situation. Whereas if the Chaos Coin didn't hit and then I had to play the idol, then I was like using everything in a single round. Whereas if I used the idol, no one should expect that I had the Chaos Coin, and like being able to have that flexibility of like a more unknown advantage was appealing to me.
Yeah, I think that's valid. I mean, because ultimately, I think it's one thing too where you had more than one thing at once. So it wasn't like it was going to be detrimental to your game. But also, I mean, at that point, you're in Final 7, even without those factors, paranoia alone would prompt me to play it. Like, just be like, I want this out of my hands. I don't want to sit there and deal with this shit anymore. And that's me being an anxious person in general. But I understand why you would have played that at that time, frankly. Plus, I mean, you did, I think you caught, what was the Final 8? You did catch a vote. So, like, from Spencer of all people. So, like, it was wild that he voted for you. But ultimately, it wasn't like it was an entire waste. You did negate a vote.
It was a pretty bad fumble.
It was a fumble, but ultimately you still recovered, so that's what matters.
I mean, I think like ultimately, like if I didn't get the pathway of like me, Spencer, Frazier running the game to the end, I do think it helped bring my threat level down a bit because Topher and Fifi did something that made their games look stronger and it made my game look weaker in terms of like I misplayed this round, they did something good that helped me, I think, put them as bigger threats to get myself to Final Five. But it wasn't intentional. I'm not going to claim that I'm some sort of mega genius. It was
yeah. If I was to say a twist I thought actually did work well this season, I think twin earn rounds can really be hit or miss depending. Like I have navigated a twin earn as a player in Suitman's back in the day and survived with no votes against me, not to flex. But it's a very delicate balance, and I think the way that everyone was involved in this like season's twin earn round, I think it actually worked really well as a concept, and also the execution was incredible. Dell, no notes from me on that one, but yeah, it was great to see, and I think it really paid off so well. Unfortunately, like we lost Jason, who was definitely a big player in the season at that point in time. But I do think that it did kind of shift things a lot in terms of like how the game was being played at that point. So,
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, I think the whole point of a twist when you're a producer, whether it's a TV show or an org, is you want something to happen. It's a catalyst for change, right? It's an unexpected moment that the cast can't possibly prepare for. And like, even if you knew Twin Earns was part of like the Prestige or Suitman's sort of like catalog, and you theoretically knew how to manipulate it, it's kind of Dell is a masterclass in how that twist works. And I don't know if it will ever work that way again if anyone watched how it worked.
Yeah.
But it definitely, I think, again, like I've said it a couple times, that twist was, in my opinion, the only twist of the season. Like, score really didn't matter at the end of the day. A lot of the like advantages really didn't get played. The lightning round never got played, but the twin earns, like, I think did change the course of the game.
I agree.
Yeah, if Jason gets through that vote, that completely changes the outcome of this. And like, I know Dell didn't want to like lose Jason at that point, or like wasn't the main target anyways, but that we could have a different winner if that goes a different route.
Yeah, I would agree. Okay, so we're gonna go to this next question, actually from Vince, but we're gonna go through it kind of quick, Jason. So overall grade, we're gonna give the players a letter grade. We're not gonna do the whole cast because God no. We're going to do from Kyler to Dell, top 13. Just rapid fire. Rapid fire. Kyler, Jason, start.
Okay, wait. What are the letters?
A, B, C, D, and F.
Okay, A to F. Okay.
If you want to do like pluses, that's fine. I don't care. But
Kyler, I was impressed with versus previous games.
Yes.
And so I'm going to go with a C.
Okay. I'm going to give Kyler a C plus because I do think that he played better. He just kind of became a little leaky for some reason. Like, he was playing so clean, and then once the merge hit, I think he got nervous and played really leaky. So C plus from Kyler. Ooh, Vince. Here we go. Here's where we're getting messy. I would give my boy Vince a solid B minus, only because I think once you decided to throw that hinky vote, you kind of shot yourself in the foot by telling people that you were throwing a hinky vote, because at that point, it became next to impossible for you to lie about the vote and that it was you. So if you're going to throw a hinky vote, great, we love, spin that paranoia up. However, don't tell anyone jack shit about it. Make it seem like it was not you. Make anything else happen. But overall, though, I think that, Vince, you are a good player, and I know what you're capable of, hence the B minus. Jason, thoughts?
I really screwed myself over by giving Kyler a C, because now I feel like that's the bar I've set. So we're going to go with C plus.
Okay. Anna. I'm going to give Anna a solid B minus. I think that she, like, again, I think was doing very well in the merge or in the pre-merge. But once the merge hit and that Kyler vote happened where she was left out of the vote, I think that Anna definitely kind of struggled to bounce back from that. Which is sad because I love her. So definitely unfortunate. But anyway, okay. Jason, thoughts on Anna?
Yeah, I thought we were going quickly through these because we have.
I know. I'm sorry. Rapid fire from here on out. Rapid fire from here on out.
B-.
Okay. Gersh.
D.
D. Oh Jesus. I'll give Gersh a C. Jason.
B+.
B. I would agree. B+. Spencer.
C-.
C+. Oh, C-. I said C+, solely because of the inability to lie well. Topher.
B.
I was also going to say B. Fifi.
Fifi was so good until she wasn't.
A- for Fifi for me.
B+.
Okay. Shep. I'm going to give Shep a D-.
D.
Lav.
B-.
B+. Frasier. I'm going to give Frasier a C.
Yeah, same.
Tristan, B+.
Yeah, Tristan was fun. I'd say the same, B+.
And then Dell, I give an A.
A+.
A+.
Okay.
Honestly, though, like Dell, like found like it was the content that we were given. Like we were able to see the complete gameplay that Dell was giving, and that's why, like, for anybody who is listening to this and who does play in the future, like Dell played the game very well, and obviously crushed the vote 8-2. But then for T-Specs, we got to experience it and like literally see everything that she was thinking throughout the game, and that is really what I'd say like catapult somebody to an A+. Like we've seen some winners who just don't give us content, and they kind of go down as not a really entertaining winner in our mind. And we've been really lucky so far in Prestige to have two really great winners. Which
I think from a player standpoint too, if players are listening to this, Dell put on a masterclass of fucking us all over without being a horrible human. Like
which is a hard thing to do.
It's really hard, but it's like it earns people's respect. And I think like there is a way. I think there's a bad culture in these orgs of like the more mean and chaotic you are, the more you're loved and the more you win the awards. Dell is an amazing example of like you can just have fun in this game, play the game for what it is, be kind to people, stab them in the back, smile as they're walking out. And then when we see them later, we're like, that was amazing. We love you. Not like you fucked me over. And like, I just think it was such a, I haven't seen it yet other than Dell, a winner who literally stabbed all of us in the back, but everyone was sort of like, yeah, they're great. So it's for everyone listening, be more like Dell.
Yeah, don't be a dick.
Dell is like a quality human.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy when like you genuinely like people. Like I think Topher probably got the worst of this for me because Topher, like I feel like our original conversations, like I really just like we didn't talk game at all. We just vibes, and then just the way the game went, and then I don't know. I definitely did you the most dirty, but like I don't know. It's so hard because the casting was good on this season, and I don't know. I think I genuinely like just like meeting people and interacting with people. Like I know Jason, you talked about the social part of the game too. Like it's just fun to like meet people that I would never interact with. And I think everyone can be inherently interesting in like that aspect of it. But it also the like whole desire for people to be villains. Like there's someone on this, I think it's Robin on this season is talking about how like they've been different kinds of villains. Like I don't go into a season being like, I'm going to be evil. Like if I don't stab 5 people in the back, I haven't like met my quota. Like,
yeah,
you're going to have to do it at some point in the game. Like you can't like keep everyone happy 100% of the time. So like, for me, it's just like when the situation calls for being a little bit devious rather than being like, all right, I haven't done anything evil in 3 rounds. Time to like really fuck someone over just for the funds. Like it's all bigger picture.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things too, where it's like, I think coming into a season and having any sort of intentionality in terms of like, I'm going to play like this. I'm like, no, you're not. You're not going to play like that. I'm sorry. The vast majority of the time I've seen people say they're going to play a certain kind of way, they play the exact opposite. Or just a variation of that's more watered down. But anyway, we'll get to Normandy in like a little bit about just kind of a general vibe of it. But Jason, I'm Jason from the Shadowlands. I'm going to ask you this question because you asked us this question. Who were you having in mind when you were asking us all star or no star?
I don't think I had anyone in mind, honestly, because I think to Dell's point, this was a pretty strong cast. It's one of the stronger casts I've played with. So I'm just curious, sort of like, what the criteria is, because like I don't know, like Shep and like Spencer and Gersh made it far, but like, do you consider that all-star worthy, or is it placement based? Is it like content based? Is it a little bit of both? I was genuinely curious. I didn't have anyone in mind though, because I agree with Dell. I think there once we got to, I think maybe merge forward, there were absolutely no duds.
No, I think the merge group entirely as a whole, there was no one that I was like, oh my God, why are they still fucking here kind of thing. Which is really lovely because sometimes we do have that kind of situation, but this time we did not, which is great. I think in general, in terms of all-star casting in general, like I feel like we look at really the whole package of a person and we look at that person's application they submit for that given season for one. Like if anyone's listening or if really any of you four about a future season, we always look at the quality of an application. So that really shows us who you are, what you're going to bring to the table, what your personality is like. But if people are giving you 2 sentences in an application, we're not casting that.
Yeah.
Like it's just we're not.
You could be the best, the most obvious returnee, and if you don't give us any effort in your application, it's not happening. Like it's so disrespectful.
We don't vibe with no effort. We put a lot of time and energy into production of this org, so we like to see effort applications of people that actually really want to give a good faith effort. So we look at like their application and the quality of that. We look at their past performance, past
theming. I think is a big thing as well. Like it depends on the group that's applying, and if there is a specific theme in it. So like when we did Last Gasp on Suitman's, it was really about who has an actual story that can continue, and like there needs to be a finish here. But we didn't cast some players that already kind of had, in our opinion, like a good finale already.
Right.
So yeah, it really depends on the theme. But when we look at the cast base as well, we are not looking for the same archetype either. We are trying to find like the most entertaining people at the end of the day. Like we've cast some questionable people multiple times.
Correct. That is true.
But that's for the entertainment value sometimes too. So
yeah, like Jason's played twice. He's won and gotten second. I played 3 times and I made it far each time. Like it's very much so about what you give to the season, what you give to the community, what your application looks like. It's really just a whole collective consideration of like what you bring, what the specific season we're looking at is like, I think there are some people from the merge group that would be better on a second chance season. Like, Kyler would be an example. I think Gersh and Spencer would be an example. Frazier might be an example of like a second chancer. John, who is pre-merge, I think those are kind of prime examples. But like the 4 of you, I personally would all have on All-Stars. Like if I was the sole person casting, not even trying to blow smoke up your ass, any of that bullshit. Like it's just, I think all 4 of you are incredibly entertaining players to watch. So, and like we're good players. So I personally would have all 4 of you back on an All-Star season. So that's just me though. There's 8 of us in production, not just 1. So
Vince would need to sign a contract though that he can't complain.
Yeah, if I have another auction, Vince cannot complain about it. But otherwise, I will give it a Poncho.
If you bring me back and I make it to auction, just be like, Vince doesn't get any money because he's an asshole.
I am making sure. I hope you don't bid on the Poncho on your returning season, and that actually is a safety without power or something.
No, now we.
Oh yeah, that would be my luck. I would tell my ally to buy the Poncho, and they'd be like, "Yo, I got a super idol," and I'd be like, "I'm about to kill someone."
No, literally, that is fucking crazy work. It was so funny though. Honestly, I was like, damn, maybe I really should have put something in the Poncho after all. But I was like, no, it's funny now. Because I literally even said to Jason, I was like, I want there to be like gags that are simply just jokes. Like for no good reason at all. So I have no regrets about it though. I thought it was hilarious. Sorry that I kind of doomed you in a way, Vince, but ultimately I have no regrets. But anyway, from Frasier, what season was better, the Amazon or Shadowlands? Okay, my answer about this has changed, actually. Like, now that I've had a few months to marinate in this question, I actually think that Shadowlands was better than Amazon. And I say that because I think that the merge, especially, was so much more fluid compared to the Amazons. And Jason A, I don't know if you can attest to that as well, but like I feel like in the Amazon there was a distinctive group that was kind of leading the charge the whole time. Whereas the Shadowlands, I think there was a lot more of people that were more willing to move throughout alliances and vote with different people. So I enjoyed the merge portion at the very least of Shadowlands more than the Amazon. Not that the Amazon.
I completely agree. I think like we did have two pretty dominant winners, but I feel the Shadowlands definitely, just was more fluid, dynamic. It was, you really didn't know where a lot of it was going to go. So I found it more entertaining. I also feel probably there's a little bit of bias between the two of us as this was our season. I do think the cast was a phenomenal. So like it. Thanks to you for making this, and my opinion, anyways, the better of the two seasons so far. But no shade to the Amazon; it's brought us a lot of really great characters as well.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on. Now we have more questions for kind of everybody. So from Bliss, who was the runner-up of the Amazon, who would you be best friends from the cast and why in real life? And I will start with Vince on this question.
Wow, that's a tough one. It's kind of a battle between two people, but honestly, I would probably say Jason, simply because I think outside of the chaos and stress of a survivor org, I think we actually would have the closest personalities. The other person would have been Shep, but I don't know how he is actually outside of games. So I think Jason would definitely be the person that I would end up vibing with the most, and also the simple fact that we're both in the Chicagoland area.
Okay. With that, Jason, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, like I liked a lot of these people a lot. I think probably the person I was closest to and the person that I actually still talk to the most is Topher. And I think if, Topher and I lived in the same area, we probably would hang out. We just really got along from the jump, and just on a friend level, not even a game level. So I mean, I really value my relationship with Topher. But also I love Fifi, I love Vince, I love Dell. These are all people that I would in a heartbeat be like, yes, what do you need? How can I help you? Where are you? What do you need? So this was there were a lot of highs and lows in this one, but those four in particular, I would say Topher, Fifi, Vince, and Dell, I just really, really loved and really enjoyed getting to know.
Topher.
Lab, obviously. No, definitely Jason. We really got along, and like you said, we do still talk all the time. So definitely him, and I would say Tristan actually, because we also really vibed out, and we would smoke a bowl together.
Oh, period. Love that for you.
Yeah.
Dell, who would you smoke a bowl with? No, I'm just kidding.
I don't do drugs.
That's why I said I was kidding, to be clear.
I mean, realistically, the only person I've been actively talking to since the season ended is Gersh. We have a lot in common. Books, sports, etc. Gersh is a homie. But I would, if anyone is ever in Charlotte, North Carolina and wants to hang out, I would hang out with anyone from the cast and probably the community. So hit me up. I'm definitely down to hang. But yeah, Gersh is the person I interact with the most postseason.
Jason A, who would you be besties with?
You. Oh wait, from the season?
Yeah, from the season. I know that we're best friends. I'm asking from the season.
I mean, the only one that's dropped into my DMs since the season has been Jason.
There you have it then. All right.
And Topher is from my area, so maybe.
Yeah, Canada. Or Canada. United States. I mean,
specifically from Toronto. Canada's a big country, Topher.
Yeah. Not if you ask Lav, though.
Yeah, no.
Oh.
Lav thinks Canada's part of the U.S.
Exactly.
No.
Nick?
Yes. Yeah. So from the cast, Dell. I mean, I've known Dell for a while at this point now. It's been like a few months before Shadowlands started, so definitely Dell. Vince also is in the Chicago area, so I feel like it would be pretty easy to meet up and hang out. I thought we would vibe. Who else am I trying to think of? Kyler, I think also I would love Kyler, even though he's like younger. He's like 18, so I wouldn't probably hang out with an 18-year-old actually though. So maybe not Kyler. Love you, Kyler though. Probably Shep. I mean, we have a lot in common with like law and whatnot, so Shep as well. Fifi, I would love to fucking hang out with Fifi as well. Yeah, that'd be my choices. From John, your guys' fellow cast member that several of you have voted out, who from the Normandy cast would seamlessly replace anyone from the past 2 seasons and why? So we're going to look at your guys' cast specifically here. So from the Shadowlands, who from the Normandy cast would you choose to replace them? Like, so you have to pick one person from your cast to replace with one person from Normandy. So I'll start with Topher on this question.
Sorry. I would probably replace, let's take Rob from Normandy because he's my friend. And we'll put him instead of Tristan.
Okay, Boots. Wait, so have you and Rob played together before?
No, he spectated me, and then he slid into my DMs after.
Okay.
And
fun. We love. Jason.
Topher took mine because I know Rob through Topher. Topher introduced me to Rob, and then Rob and I played a game together and are now very good friends and hosting something else together. Mm-hmm. So, but I won't take Rob. I don't know anyone else in the Normandy season, I don't think, but just based on, here we go, just based on a 1-for-1, I would take Tyrone from the current season and replace Lav with Tyrone.
Please, that'd be so crazy.
Because I want that Tyrone. I mean, I can't wait for this reveal, but I want that character in my life, and I think it's a good 1-for-1 switch for me for entertainment value.
Okay, Vince.
I would probably say Robin from the current season and replace him with Brooke, just because Robin wants to be this like different style, like you mentioned before, of a villain. And I feel like I would have been able to both mesh and work and communicate more with Robin than I would with Brooke, since Brooke and me hated each other from the get-go. I just would have benefited my game in general. And I think having someone else with the historic villain trademark would have allowed me to play it a calmer fashion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dell.
You can replace me with Shelby. Yeah, of the 2 women, guys, come on. I feel like I view her and myself as most similar, but I think realistically the ideal scenario would be to replace all the boring people who got booted early and didn't participate in T-Core with the highlights of the Normandy cast, no?
Oh, you spelled that.
Oh, I like that.
Like replace Mads. I liked Mads, but then obviously they had to step away. But like imagine if instead of Mads, having to step away, we had like Max trying to be in a showmance with Jason. Like who
True. Romance there. Okay.
Well, that's my opinion.
Yeah, no, that's valid. I think that's also a spicy answer too, to take the boring people or the inactive folks out and replace them with the active people. Because if the entire cast was as active as you 4 were, the season would have went crazy, I think, even more so. But moving on, I'm kind of combining these 2 questions with the one that I'd already written. So shout out to Jose and Kyler. But to the cast, what was your rose and thorn of the Shadowlands? And I'll start with Vince on this question.
Well, the rose, I think, was just generally meeting everyone and getting to play a game with such impressive characters and, for the most part, strategic style players. Luckily, I went out before the strategy kind of started dying out the window on certain people. But the thorn was probably just and that's my own fault, my own inability of not being able to keeping my anger and temper in my confessional, both with the production, with the auction, and with, the blow-ups I had with Brooke and Lav and basically like half the cast. Just because I think that was a detriment to my own game. It was up until that first merge round, I feel like I kept myself cool and calm, other than in confessionals. And then I went into merge and went 2 straight rounds with arguing with people, then argued my way through Ponderosa to the point where I'm sure production wanted to mute me at certain points.
Oh, that channel was muted the whole time.
It was.
But I will say, sorry, just to like touch on like the complaints to production. Like I know we kind of harp on it a little bit. But, like honestly, that at the end of the season, it's a fresh like board. Like I don't care. Essentially, like we know that you're all in the game and you're all passionate and it is what it is. But then like once the season is over, we know it's a new page and you guys aren't that person all the time. So don't even think about that. I know we'll make fun of you, but like it really doesn't actually impact. I'm not thinking about it and doesn't hurt my feelings. So you're totally fine.
I mean, at this point in time, the only thing that I will ever give you shit for, Vince, is that you bought a poncho for no reason. It's very much so Eliza telling Jason that it's just a fucking stick. And Michael Felicia, it's very that. But anyway, but no, like Jason said, it's totally fine. Like the only time I'm ever going to hold like or have negative feelings towards someone that plays this org is if they're like genuinely a dick the whole time and just don't stop being a dick. And that was nobody in this cast at all. So we were very lucky to have a pretty non-toxic cast. Like, yes, there were emotions that were high at certain points, but like overall, it was not that deep. And I like all of you, so no problem there. But Topher, what was your rose and thorn of the season?
Not to jerk you guys off too hard, but I would say like the production was definitely a highlight. It's definitely the best Discord org I've ever played, I would say. And I just had a lot of fun playing the whole time. Thorn wise, definitely probably gonna sort of riff off what Vince was saying, and the complaining was not something that I loved from the castmates.
Understandably. Del, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say something that was inappropriate. Anyways, continue.
Okay, anyway. Rose and thorn, Del.
Oh, my rose has to be getting my first org win. Big dubs. Appreciate that. Also, want to give a shout out to all the spectators. I got a lot of love this season, and I don't necessarily seek validation from playing orgs, but it does feel good to see people, rooting for you and whatnot. So trying to return the favor this season and spectate and be an active commentator. And I encourage everyone else to do the same because it feels really nice. My thorn, don't really have much to complain about. I will say, I think like when you are in FTC, you're trying to like highlight all the good things you did, but I don't think I played a perfect game. I think there's still things to improve on. Like if Mads hadn't quit, maybe I'm in trouble at that tribal council. I don't know. I think there's always little things that you can tweak and improve on, but I don't have much to complain about. I really enjoyed this experience. I have my buffs that I'm going to frame as well, so looking forward to that. But yeah, overall, very positive experience for me.
Glad to hear it. Jason G, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to echo a lot of what people said. My rose is definitely this community. Like, I think I've been looking for a place that feels not negative and professional and fun. And I think I echo what Topher said. This was the best run org. I mean, production was great. Everyone on this production team is fantastic, from like Lily's incredible designs to the way you two have put the season together. It really is. There's only like one other one that I was like, this is challenging and feels like I'm in Survivor. And so this one was so good in that respect. And I think just meeting the people, like the people in this one quality people that I still talk to. I still talk to Vince. I still talk to Topher. I still talk to a few people, and I've run into them in other orgs, and it's just been a love fest. Thorn, I would say, I think for me, like I'll give it to myself, like as a Thorn of like my own personal, like I shouldn't have fed into some of the negativity, and like I kind of regret how things went with Lav personally, and Tristan and Kyler to an extent, although I feel like Tristan and Kyler worked that out pretty quickly. But I feel like in a different world, Lav and I would have been much closer. And I don't think I was the most mature when it came to like, I'm going to be a shit now. So I think that was my Thorn. I regret playing that way because I think it ultimately did do me in the earn round. So.
Yeah, I think it's valid. Well, thank you all for sharing that. Excellent work. Okay, for all four of you, I'm just going to rapid fire yes or no question. Would you return to play again? Not saying we're casting you right away, but like, would you return? All four of you could answer whatever you want.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll definitely return.
Vince, Del, would you return?
I don't know. I mean, it depends when. I think I've been enjoying my like break from orgs, but also I'm incredibly easy to have my ego strokes and then apply to a season.
Noted. So now I know how to recruit you. Perfect.
That's how you and Ian messaging me about Prestige multiple times. I was like, okay, I guess I'll sign up. Fine, whatever. Yeah, I would definitely come back and play again. Hopefully in a while, so people don't exactly remember how I played, and maybe I'm not like the biggest third of all time, but that's how it goes. So it goes.
I know we joked about like it would be a funny concept to replay an entire season. If you were going to do it, this cast would be incredible.
No, it honestly would be. I would watch this cast again, 100%.
I'd watch from the merge on. I don't know if I'd watch the pre.
That's fair. But okay. And then additionally, who are your guys' early favorites from the Normandy cast? If you're spectating at all. If you're not, it's fine. I know it's a busy time for folks.
Definitely, I would say Rob, and because we're friends, but I've also played with Max before, so definitely like Max.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, Max. Max won the speed we had last weekend. Like Max is starting off well, and so is Rob. So I'm definitely vibing with both as well. So I echo that sentiment. Jason, who are you rooting for? Jason,
yeah, I'm definitely rooting for Rob, just for like purely personal level. Just because I like him so much, and I think he's just such a good player. I'm excited to see him in this format. For people I don't know, yeah, Max I don't know, but I'm already obsessed with. Just by watching this Admirals thing, and then going back to seeing what he really thinks is very fun. And I'm like, yes, this is a player that has potential. And I really like Chris. I think Chris is putting in a lot of effort with his video confessionals and stuff, and really working and trying hard. So I appreciate people who put effort in, and so I think those folks are playing the game.
Yeah. Vince.
Not knowing anyone on this cast at all, it's a little rough. I mean, I will say Rob has been pretty impressive from what I've spectated. And then my dark horse pick would probably be someone like Ryan. I think he's putting in effort. I don't know if he's technically in the greatest position, but I think he could definitely play a very middleman type game.
Okay. Del, thoughts?
I played with Max. Max did me dirty, but he's good, so I'll give him props. I also just like he has a good confessional, even his little dancing videos, whatever, like it's entertaining. I feel like right now I'm waiting for some people to develop a personality where I can be like, I like you or I don't like you. I do like Patrice. Also very hot. Shout out to him.
No, literally.
I don't know what Rob actually looks like, but his AI image is also incredibly hot.
Rob is not far off that photo.
I mean, not to objectify all our participants, but it doesn't hurt.
Del said, "I'm human."
I'm human, and they're also all gay, so I have no shot. But shout out to them.
Rob loves that. Rob loves that AI bulge you guys gave him.
Yeah.
Wait, I didn't even notice that. Bye.
Oh, it's real.
Bye. Lily needs to figure her life out anyway.
I know. I want to know what prompt she's giving it.
Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah, because I need that. I need her to share that with me.
Bye. Wait, I'm shocked that none of you guys said Tyrone.
I mean, Tyrone isn't real. Like we all agree, yes?
Yeah.
Tyrone is in his own league. He's like S tier. Like he doesn't need to be mentioned. We just know he's likable.
He's a 15-year-old, right? He's got to be like 15 and pulling this all off, and he's going home, I think. So it's like, what a bummer, but like, it's such a ridiculous choice.
He's a character.
It's a choice.
It's a choice. Okay. Before we close, do you guys have any questions or thoughts before we close today? Anyone speak up if you have questions. If not, that's fine, to be clear. I'm just asking just in case.
I think you guys covered any of the questions I had sort of like thought about. So
okay. Well,
you did.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I think you did too. I was thinking if there was anything else, but no, I mean, again, I think kudos on I love that this podcast thing exists too. I wish more did this. Like this discussion with the players, I think is incredible.
Yeah, who doesn't like
we were literally talking
about them?
Well, we were literally talking to each other. We're like, we could do a finale episode, but like we didn't live it. So like, I think I like this roundtable of you all playing in different sides of the game and actually experienced it, has way more insight than Nick and I and a third party coming and talking about it. So we really appreciate you all taking the time to give us your insight.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you guys for joining us. Final thoughts before we close today, Jason, about the Shadowlands before we close.
No, I think you guys, it was a really great season. Now, like you said, we've had some time to marinate in it. I think it was like, I know it's only 2 seasons to compare it, but you all made it very entertaining. And I think the biggest takeaway too is just that you all were really just passionate and really wanted to play the game. And I'm really like, it kind of set a bar for Normandy, and I'm hoping we get that same passion from these players, which it's only like 3 days in, so time will tell. But no, thank you all for giving us a really entertaining season and for coming on here and wanting to talk about this. It's obviously still fresh on everybody's mind.
Yeah. I'm glad that y'all did not forget, because Jason and I were both like, I'm like looking at the wiki, like refreshing myself about like what happened. I'm like, okay, I remember now. But yeah, no, you guys simply made this season so great. So thank all 4 of you for joining us and just giving us your unfiltered thoughts and opinions and just really ideas about like why you did what you did and kind of what your perspective was. Because I think having actual people that were playing the game and going through it, and truly going through it for some of you in some circumstances, but like it's just been so nice. So thank you guys all for joining us today and for making the Shadowlands a good season. I hope all 4 of you stick around the server for years to come, because we love having you guys in it.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, thanks to you all for actually spectating this season. Like, I think, Del, that's a really great point that you said earlier. Was like the T-Specs were watching you. They had feelings. Like, they're in it just as much as you all are in it, and thoughts evolve and change. But like, it's great to see that you're all now giving it back to the players. And we saw that from the Amazon players who were very active during the Shadowlands. So it's really great to see this T-Spec group even getting larger as more seasons come and go. And like, even for me, that's kind of what I signed up for the server, played my first game, and then haven't left. And that was like, almost 4 years ago.
Yeah, no.
So,
God,
thank you all for participating.
Yeah, thank you guys. But for now, that's all we have for today. We will now be done with Shadowlands content. And I thank you all for playing this season. I thank the spectators for listening to the Shadowlands season podcast. But for now, we're moving to Normandy. So for now, bye everyone. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Adios.
Bye.